Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig, where we talk about all things firearms policy, politics, culture, media, you name it. We're talking about it right here on Coffee with Craig. So please take a moment, like and share the program, and encourage your friends to do the same. And by the way, that way they'll know exactly where the program is taking place, where the conversation is taking place. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you hit that notification button. It's either a little bell that's on there. This is to help us beat the algorithm so we can notify you whenever we go live, and then you can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. All right, this next story is near and dear to my heart as I live in the state of California. I don't know how other states handle it. I kind of know, but I know for a fact in California, uh, following COVID, following the beginning of COVID in 2020, and then the George Floyd riots, and when you had a lot of people going to purchase firearms, you had the instance in California where the Department of Justice, the folks who do like background checks here in the state of California, California being a point of contact state, we do our own background checks. We don't just rely on NICS, but we do California. The state of California does their own background checks. But what was interesting is in California, we have a 10-day waiting period. And they're supposed to have it done in 10 days. Well, the Attorney General's office or the Department of Justice in the state of California, in essence, just blew off that mandate that they were supposed to complete background checks in 10 days. And so, needless to say, Firearms Policy Coalition took them to court in the case of Campos v. Bonta. Well, let's just say that we've got some very, very good news. Good news in the way of a victory in this particular case. And to talk about it, we have Associate Attorney with the Firearms Policy Coalition, Mr. Bill Sack. Bill, how are we doing?
Hey, Greg. Good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. All right. Lay it out. So give us the good news about this case.
So the good news is we win. Get used to it. We're going to do a lot of winning this year. We win. The California Superior Court granted a writ of mandamus, which is legal terminology for, hey, government, you have to do the thing that you're required to do by law. You have to do the thing. So in this case, as you mentioned, Craig, the California DOJ had staked out this position, which was completely unsupported by the statutes in the book, saying we can use this extra 30 days to run these background checks. And the court disagreed.
Well, and in some cases, they were taking more than 30 days. I mean, it was. I know people who waited much longer than 30 days in order to get their background checks done. And it was, and you know, now what I will say is that while the case is v. Bonta, this really occurred under Javier Becerra. And he was really arrogant about it in terms of he was just like, yeah, no, we don't have enough agents. Now, mind you, this is at the same time that they're taking money that goes in, that's supposed to go to pay for background checks, money that they should be using to hire agents to do background checks. Yeah, they're already taking that money and using it for other things like confiscating firearms. But they're saying, yeah, no, we just don't have enough agents, so we're going to do what we want.
Yeah, so we can take a little bit of a deeper dive into exactly what's going on here. So as you mentioned in the intro, there's a 10-day waiting period in California. Now, during that 10 days, the state is required to do a background check. And the way that the statute is written, that at the end of that 10 days, they have three options. Okay. Option one is it's approved and they authorize the delivery of the firearm. Option number two is it's denied because they have some prohibiting factor that they've undertaken and you're not legally allowed to own firearms. Now, option three, and this is the one that was disputed here, was the ability to delay the background check for up to an additional 30 days. Now, the sticky wicket there is that the statute makes really clear that there are only a really set, specific, exclusive list of circumstances under which the government can use that extra 30 days to delay. The California DOJ had staked out the position that they can just use that extra 30 days for anybody under any circumstances because they don't have enough people and they just really, really want to. The court said no. The statute's really clear. It establishes an exclusive list of the reasons for which you can delay someone. And in short, they have to show some sort of substantial evidence that additional investigation is actually required there. Them not having enough people, the California DOJ being slow or under resourced is not an excuse. If they can approve these things in 10 days, too bad, essentially. The court left open the possibility that they could request some sort of emergency order from the governor, but otherwise, the statute's clear. Your three options at the end of the 10 days is approve it, deny it, or delay it only if you have one of the statutorily justifiable reasons to use that extra 30-day delay, not
Now,
just because you feel like it.
now, just for reference, in a separate case prior to COVID, where the FPC actually had the opportunity to depose representatives from the California Department of Justice, it was actually admitted that the overwhelming majority of background checks take less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, most of them happen essentially instantaneously. They plug your information in, and out comes an approval. And in a very small instance, out comes a denial. But even still, I think it's something like 85+% of them don't take any more than about 3 minutes.
Mm. And yet, and still, do we have any idea what the number of delays or what the percentage of delays were that were going beyond the 10 days? Do we have any idea what that number was?
I don't know, not off the top of my head, and I don't want to speculate, but obviously during COVID and during George Floyd, the number of people that were trying to purchase handguns skyrocketed. And the government wanted to use every tool at their discretion in order to delay and drag their feet and try to hamstring the public from being able to buy the guns that they wanted.
Right. Because think about it now, just if you are watching from California, and I realize this is not necessarily statistical evidence, but think of the people who you talked to during that time who told you that, yeah, no, I'm having to wait. My background check hadn't come back yet. I remember going to my gun store, the gun store where I purchased stuff, Sacramento Black Rifle. I remember going there. And I remember just tons of times them answering phones almost all day because people were calling. They were like wondering, hey, dude, it's been a while since I bought it. My background check should have been back by now. So it's only anecdotal evidence, but anecdotal evidence is all I really need to know that it was a serious problem for me.
Yeah, I mean, and look, it goes beyond anecdotal. The California DOJ put in writing repeatedly in court documents that they believed they had the right to do this. So they stood firmly on the ground that they could use these extra 30 days just because they wanted to. The actual language of the statute be damned. And thankfully, the Superior Court of California said, well, as inconvenient as it may be, California DOJ, your job is to enforce the law as it's written, not as you wish it was written.
All right. So a lot of folks are thinking, all right, well, look, that was back during COVID and George Floyd. It's not like that anymore. Why does this matter to me now?
Well, what matters to you now is that not only are the statutory requirements that the California DOJ was required to uphold this whole time, but now there's a court order arguing and demanding that they do it. So now, should they choose to send someone into delay and use these extra 30 days without the substantial evidence that's required by the statute, they're in violation of a court order and in violation of a writ of mandamus, which is just an additional cause of action for anybody who believes that they've been wronged by this.
Exactly. So this isn't just going to affect. I mean, one, if another such emergency were to occur or another such significant increase in purchase of firearms happen, they don't get to use that excuse. Number one, but number two, even for individual purposes, because let's be honest, I'm sure that this was happening to some people prior to COVID, prior to the George Floyd riots. In those cases, once again, they are not going to be able to delay it without having without being able to prove one of those exemptions.
That's right. I mean, this is not something that has to wait around for the next pandemic, be it monkeypox or otherwise. This is in effect all the time. The government has to follow the rules. And despite the fact that they often try to wiggle out of it and try to create their own rules on the fly, uh, the rule of law is dependent upon what the statutes actually say. And that's what set forth the requirements for the government here, and that they have to get these background checks done in 10 days. And if for some reason they can't, well, then they can default back to option one, which is approve the background check and let the individual take their gun home.
Right. And at the same time, now, let me ask you this. So, does this also release dealers so that when dealers know that, so let's say the 10 days has come and gone, it's the 11th day and they haven't gotten the background check back. Does this then release them to be allow them to then be able to release the firearm to the purchaser, even if California DOJ hasn't gotten back to them with the outcome of the background check?
No, no. What it does not do is allow dealers to, like, on that 11th day, just say, "All right, well, you guys blew it," um, and release the firearm. They're still required to only release the firearm at the point of which that they've been authorized to do so by the DOJ. Now, should the DOJ be in violation of this writ of mandamus and take longer than the requisite 10 days, at that point, the individual seeking to buy the gun, and potentially the dealer as well, has a cause of action against the DOJ, but they cannot just release the gun.
And folks, that's important for you to know and understand, because I know some of you are going to be like, "Well, it's the 11th day. You have to release the gun to me," and you just need to know. Look, the dealer's got to protect their license, and so if
Right.
they're not authorized to do so, they're not going to do so. But here's the thing: as he said, you've got an opportunity for legal action, and the Firearms Policy Coalition happens to have a 2A hotline. Do we not?
We do. 2ahotline.com. You can report all of your civil rights violations, especially anything related to your Second Amendment rights. We have an entire team of attorneys in California, especially, that would be thrilled to help you should the DOJ choose to act in violation of this writ, and continue to extend the standard background check past 10 days. If they do that, we absolutely want to know. Hit us at 2ahotline.com, and our legal team will review that and reach out to you accordingly.
Exactly, folks. So, like I said, here's the thing: don't get down on your dealer if something like this happens. Don't get mad at them. They're following the law. Just know where you got to go. It's 2ahotline.com, and we will do what we can to get this taken care for you as quickly as possible, and obviously make the state pay to the degree that we can make them pay. All right, how do folks follow the work that you're doing for us over at FPC?
Sure thing. So you can go to firearmspolicy.org to see our main website. At that point, you can join, become a member, set up donations, whether they be one time or monthly reoccurring, which we love. If you want to go directly to see all of the work that our legal team is doing on behalf of the peaceable people of the United States, you can go to fpclaw.org, where you can read about all of the cases that the FPC legal team is involved in, read all of the briefing, all of the pleadings in their entirety, as well as the absurd responses that often come from the government in response to our cases. You can search both by chronology and see the most recent filings in each case, as well as by the circuits and the state courts to look at what cases we are involved in your immediate area.
Folks, that is phenomenal. I'm going to tell you, just if you ever get a chance and if there's an issue that you want to read more about, reading some of these briefs will really help you to understand a lot of the history behind both the laws that have been put in place and the fight against those laws. So it's really important. If you ever get a chance, I like our briefs are done really, really well. They're written in a way in which the average person can understand. I can understand them, and I'm not a lawyer. So if I can
I am
understand
a
them.
lawyer and I'm not very bright.
All right, well, Bill, once again, thank you for all the work that you do and the rest of the attorneys over there at FPC Law do. We appreciate everything, and we look forward to having you back on the show again sometime soon.
Always a pleasure. Good to see you, Craig.
All right, sir. All right, folks. As you see, the work that is done, it's a lot, and we're having victories. And the only reason we have these victories is because we have the support of folks like you. How can you support the Firearms Policy Coalition? Well, you can start off by becoming a member. That's right. You can become a member today. All you got to do is go to joinfpc.org. That's joinfpc.org, or click on the join link in the description to this video. It's important that we have you do that because we cannot fight in the courts. We cannot fight in the legislatures without your support. There is no us without you. And remember, you are either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Don't be part of the problem. Become a member today. Also, you can support us by spending some money with us. Where can you spend that money? FPCgear.com. That's right, FPCgear.com. It is the place to go to get all of your Pro 2A swag. I'm talking t-shirts. I'm talking tank tops. I'm talking coffee mugs. I mean, you name it. We've got it there for you. And the best part is every dollar that you spend goes right back into the fight for our right to keep and bear arms. So you can support the Second Amendment and you can look good doing it. That's FPCgear.com. All right, folks, that's going to be it for this edition of Coffee with Craig. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. Remember, this is a fight for our civil rights. Got to use them or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.